Before we start, I have Joe Mako raising his hand. Joe, you had a question? Joe, can you unmute? No, I can't hear you. You're still muted if you had a question about the meeting.
I can't hear Erin. Is she talking? Anybody hear
You
me?
can't hear me?
Dennis, yep.
Can hear you.
Can anybody hear anything?
I can hear you, Dennis.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, Aaron,
Can't
too.
hear.
Oh, okay.
I can't
But
talk.
Joe is,
I'm unmuted.
okay, Joe, what was your question?
Whether or not I can participate in the meeting as a, I want to make sure I'm on.
For which application, Joe?
The
There's no sound at all.
second one.
Does
For
anybody have
Wildcat
sound?
Springs, yes, there'll be a public hearing associated with that.
You have
application.
sound?
Yeah, I can hear
Rich?
you, Dennis. I can hear you.
I can't hear anything.
I can hear you.
So we'll give you an opportunity to be heard, Joe, once we open that hearing, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I'm gonna log or go off and
Dennis,
come back
go
on.
to your,
Okay.
yeah, by your microphone, he should be able
He's
to,
gone.
maybe a different speaker. So we have to wait till he's back because he's our
Yeah.
quorum.
Yes,
Unfortunately.
he is. Dennis, how do you hear?
Try it now.
We can hear you. Perfect. So,
No, I hear nothing.
So Dennis, can you read the captions? Go
Anything?
down towards your microphone. He's
I
not-
hear nothing.
So let me try in chat here to get you going.
Aaron, may I just ask you, what's your title during the remarks here? It keeps saying the clerk. We don't have Marlene anymore. So what's your title you go by?
I'm the town planner,
Town planner. Thank you.
jack of all trades lately. Dennis,
I
go to
cannot hear.
microphone. And
Got my sound way up. Still nothing's happening.
all right, let's see.
Go to the microphone if there's an arrow next to it.
See that?
Microphone, select a speaker. Yep. I got that. Microphone array. Yep. Headphone. Same as system. My speaker's working. Yep.
Can
So
you hear us?
hear us if
What?
you've tested it?
All of a sudden I hear it now.
Good.
So we-
Problem solved. We can begin.
We can hear you. Nice.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know what happened. I put it on the test little thing they have there, and
oh, we're glad you're back, Dennis. So I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, April 11th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like to introduce the members. We have, well, first we have Aaron Mannix, who's our town planner. We have Bill Piggott, who is our regular member. We have Dennis Crow, who's a regular member. And we have Dylan Stella, who is an alternate, but will be seated tonight as a voting member. So normally 4 votes are needed for an application to be approved, but tonight, since we only have 4, it has to be unanimous for your application to be approved. The town planner will read the call of the meeting as advertised in the publication. After the applications have been read, anyone who wishes to withdraw or postpone his or her application is free to do so. If there is no one who wishes to withdraw or postpone, we will then go forward with the applications in the order in which they have been advertised. The town planner will call the application, at which time the applicant or his or her representative will come forward and state his or her name and address for the record and the nature and reason for the appeal. The applicant representative should stand where she can be seen, and all displays can be seen by both the board and the audience. Any and all items, plans, or pictures shown to the board are considered exhibits, and all exhibits must be left with the file. After the presentation is made by the applicant, we will entertain questions from members of the board and then entertain questions from the audience. We will also, after that discussion has taken place, accept presentations or statements either in favor of or in opposition to the particular application. Please be sure to state your name and address the first time you speak, and your name any subsequent time you speak. When your application has been heard, we will close the public hearing portion of the application, and the board will go into their deliberations with the seated members. We will not be, according to state statute, we are not permitted to take any testimony at the close of the public hearing. And in most instances, we will make our decision immediately after each hearing. You may stay to hear the result or call the land use office in the morning. You'll also be notified by mail, and all decisions are published. I will now call on our town planner, Aaron Mannix, to now read the appeals to be presented tonight.
Thank you, Richard. Notice is hereby given that the Madison Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a meeting, a public hearing on Tuesday, April 11th, beginning at 7 p.m. via Zoom webinar. Webinar ID is 920-0270-2103. Password is 388818. The applications to be heard include number 23-0666 Signal Hill Road, map 30, lot 44, R1 zone. The owner is Susan Hartman. The applicant is Todd K. Anderson of Anderson Associates, Engineering and Surveying Associates, excuse me. Variance request per section 3.8 to allow 10.27% building coverage where 10% is required to construct a detached garage with accessory apartment. Second application is 23-07, number 26 Wildcat Springs Drive, map 66, lot 21, zone RU2. Owners are John and Deborah Orlando. The applicant is William Thompson, architect. Variance request is per section 11.1 to allow an accessory building in front yard. Copies of these applications are available in the land use office and by visiting the town's website at www.madisonct.org. Correspondence can be received through the land use, email at landuse@madisonct.org. Notice of these hearings ran in the source on March 30th and April 6th. And that's.
Thank you. So I mentioned in the remarks, we are, there goes the recording. I mentioned in the remarks, we are going to seat Dylan Stella as a regular member since we do not have a quorum and he's an alternate. So, okay, so I guess if we can start with the first applicant.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we did receive word anticipating that we would only have 4 board members this evening. We did reach out to the applicants ahead of time to see if they were interested in proceeding or if they wish to continue waiting till you had 5 members. And the applicant for 66 Signal Hill Road, Todd Anderson, did indicate he spoke with his client and provided us with a written request that the board open the hearing and immediately continue the hearing to your May meeting. And so that would be the recommended steps for the first application. Your second applicant is willing to proceed this evening.
Okay, so should we start with what was it, 26 Wildcat Springs then?
We will need a motion to open the public hearing for Signal Hill
Oh,
and
sorry.
immediately continue.
So they're not, let me get this straight. So they're not going to present tonight? They just want to postpone till the next meeting?
Yes, they would prefer to wait till you have 5 members present.
Okay, so can I get a motion to open the public portion of the hearing?
I make a motion that we open up the public portion of the hearing.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And just a modification to continue, open and continue to the May meeting. Just to
Okay, open and
Yeah,
continue to the
that's-
main meeting. Sorry. Okay,
And
I'll
that's,
amend that. to-
May 9th is the date.
Okay, so do we need a motion to move their application to May 9th?
So basically, if you open and if you make a motion to open the hearing and immediately continue it, that relieves the need for additional notifications or legal notices to be run. So the neighbors, because that information is here on the record in the meeting, anybody interested in this application can refer to the minutes and know that the application is continued to May. And the town will not have to go incur the expense of additional legal notice fees, and the applicant wouldn't need to renotice abutters. So that's
So-
the reason for opening and continuing.
Okay.
rather than table.
So can I amend that motion then to open and continue the public portion of the meeting? Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Okay, great. Thank you.
sure. So I guess, now Aaron, do you read the applicant,
Oh,
the
sure. I'm
application
sorry.
for 26? That's okay.
So number 26 Wildcat Springs is application 23-07. On behalf of the applicant, architect Will Thompson is here to present to you. And the property owner, Debbie Orlando, is here as well. Will, did you want me to promote Debbie to a panelist as well, or are you going to handle the whole presentation?
Well, I'm planning to present, but I'd be happy to have Debbie visible if, in case she wants
If
to.
she's interested, so I'll give her the option.
Yep.
Okay. And can you screen share, Will, or do you need me to do that?
No,
for you?
I would like to, if I may.
Yes.
All right. All right. Can we see this drawing?
Yeah,
Thank you. All right. For the record, my name is William Thompson. I'm an architect. My address is 28 South Fair Street, Guilford. And I'm here tonight on behalf of Deborah and John Orlando, who are the owners and residents of 26 Wildcat Springs Drive in Madison. And what we're seeking is a variance to allow a small accessory in the front yard. And what I'd like to do is just first review kind of the lay of land and touch on our thinking of why we think this is a reasonable request. So this first sheet is showing a site plan. Down sheet where my cursor is, which is north. North is basic. There's the north arrow. It's more or less down sheet. That's Wildcat Springs Drive. This is the existing driveway into the property. Neighbor's driveway is right here. There's a land trust right-of-way along this sideline and land trust land to the rear. In addition, the property is relatively flat, except on the land trust side and this rear where it rises upward. should note that it's under width in front width as well as overall lot width. It's about 98 feet in the front. The sidelines it's 320 on the shorter side and about I think it's around 360 range on this side. The rear lot line is 233. And as you can see, most of the development is hard to the rear. The orange area is the existing house as it stands today. The septic is in this center zone here. Well is over here. Currently, the driveway sweeps in the way this whole edge shows, and there's outdoor parking in 2 insets, one here and one where we're proposing this small garage. The garage we're proposing is 22 feet by 26 feet, so 572 square feet. Adjacent to the house, this purple area is a proposed addition for an elderly relative that they want to create a bit of space, but it needs to be on-grade access. And we're utilizing the existing grades to minimize disruption to the land trust land that's adjacent. So in essence, what I'm doing is I'm using the contours that exist. We're bringing it up, and this on-grade addition would occur here. And it pretty much, the fact that the whole property is developed to the rear, we're quite limited in where we can put reasonable amount of garage accessory space. So that's why I proposed tucking this garage into the grade here. And as proposed, it's 198 plus feet from the front line. So it's quite far back. I'm going to jump to a couple sheets forward just to show you a little more what it might look like. So this is an elevation view of the garage. You can see, here, I'll make it a little bigger. Can you see that all right?
Yes.
That's on the land trust side. It's only 10'8" to the ridge. On the yard side, it's under 15 feet to the ridge. This sheet here shows the relationship of a blow up of that, basically that part of the site and where the proposed garage would go. Jump back one. This shows a bit more size to do with the garage and the access to the on-grade space for their elderly parent. And the last sheet just gives you an idea of the general architecture of the building. As far as coverage, this zone is up to 10%, and even with these additions, we're at 8.8%. And in fact, in every way, we're in conformance except for this front line, basically front yard location of the proposed garage. And those are our primary drivers for why we propose to do it this way. To recap a bit, to work with the grades, to minimize the impact of this, and to accommodate this space for an elderly parent. Do you have questions?
I do.
Please.
Are you going to discuss the application itself and go over the details of it?
Be happy to.
Okay, and one other thing, I see on here a proposed site plan. I don't see an existing layout. I mean, I see what you've got there, but you know, I stopped at the property. Nobody's there, of course. I noticed in the back there's a shed or something there.
There's a shed next to the pool, which is going away right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's going away.
Here, I'll show you. I'll blow it up a little. You see right here that dashed line?
I do.
There's a small shed for the pool, and it's to be removed.
Okay. And that,
Where is the existing garages?
So there's There's a fairly compact two-car garage in this, underneath this wing right here.
And that's gonna stay there, right?
That's correct.
Okay,
And the bank, you see this red, this is an existing retaining wall. It actually right now goes to right here. So we're basically just shortening it a little. And there's an inset right here.
Okay, so the garages will remain there as a garage.
Yes, sir.
so the garage that's gonna remain there is obviously for the people that are living there now.
Well, right now with family, they have a number of cars that stay outside because
Okay.
there's not space for them. And there's no intentions about, if this is going towards like a rental direction, that's not what this is about. This is purely about how do they have a little more garage space and also accommodate an elderly parent.
Okay. No, I was just wondering if the elderly parents have a car.
Well, it's set up so that the car could be brought up to this grade and it may or may not go back in here. It could stay right there or it could be down. And I imagine that depends a lot on the level of mobility and how much assistance is needed. And I'm not really privy to that detail.
Okay.
Could I ask, I mean, I'm looking at the, what you have on the screen there, Mr. Thompson. So just to be clear, so the addition that's going in the purple, that's not the variance request, it's the accessory building. So I'm wondering, could the garage be expanded and the new building you're building be shifted to the left?
The problem is this is sort of a half grade up. So what would start to happen is to make this work with grade, there isn't space for a garage under this addition if it's on grade. And even if I were to adjust the grade some, there really isn't enough space to adjust it enough without having impact on that basically land trust line, which I'm trying to leave alone. In other words, I'm not proposing anything that requires regrading of adjacent property, and particularly so with land trust. Does that answer the question, sir?
Huh.
So if you look, for example, we're around 40, this is 47, this area in here is around 44. Up here is 51, it's more or less 4 or 5 feet difference. It's
So
a
what is
tricky one.
the-
It's a deep lot, but everything's, pushed hard to the back. And then we also have, on this side, we have well, and we need our clearance to that, and we have septic, and we need enough reserve area for septic. And I actually have Stevens Associates looking at, those capacities for the next step of this.
I have a question. What is the side yard setback of it'd be the west side, I guess, from the property line,
As
from
far
the
as,
accessory building?
so just please remember, north is down.
Right.
So the west line, the big line, it's 131.4 to the accessory.
No, I meant the other way.
All right, that's 20 foot. Whereas any of the house addition is at greater than 30. The house addition is completely conforming.
So what is the zoning for the setback for the RU2?
The accessory, the key thing is usually the height, and we're well below it. And I think, Aaron, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's something like only 8 feet.
Right, so it's a couple things with the accessory structure regulations in section 11. If the accessory structure is within 15 feet of the principal dwelling, that would have to abide by the standard setbacks for the main dwelling, which would be a 30-foot side yard setback. because the accessory structure is more than 15 feet from the main dwelling, the setback is based on the roof height of the building. So
Okay,
this particular structure, the accessory structure, has a reduced side yard setback. The only variance that's being requested is the actual placement of the accessory structure within the front yard, because it's not behind that front wall of the main dwelling.
okay.
And as you can see, the rear setback is also a 30-foot setback, and the house itself is non-conforming with respect to the rear yard setback.
You can see that that's that green hash right here. So the existing house from some earlier edition is at 28.4. But anything we're proposing, like this roofed patio is at 50 foot plus. And it's at greater
I
than.
believe a variance was granted for the pool. Isn't that correct?
That's right. I don't know the story of this, Aaron, and this was done before my clients owned this property, so.
Dylan, do you have any questions?
Sure. So would you say that this lot shape is unique for this district?
I don't know if I'd say unique, but it's non-conforming, and particularly because the house is so hard pushed back and utilities are taking a lot of the foreground. I think that definitely creates some hardship in how we place this. I did look at different ways to connect a garage, and it created more disruption to the site and really didn't fit well. And because we have a well here, and the separation of well to septic, that sort of makes things on that side somewhat moot, not to mention, the curb cut and everything is developed at this side. We really don't want to develop that side for cars.
Okay. It does look kind of like narrow and.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 98 feet at the street.
So can you explain, did you try to combine the garage with the new building? I mean,
I did look at that. What starts to happen is there really isn't good access, and it starts to put the driveway in front of the whole front of the house, which is green space now. And it also starts to become more disruptive to the grades here, right in this zone on the back side of it. So it really didn't fit very well.
okay,
I mean, I always try for easiest first. This is not first choice to, have to seek a variance, but it seems like ultimately this seems to allow the kind of pastoral level of this development to be less affected by just needing a not unreasonable amount of garage space for a good sized home. And I did want to respect the grading, particularly at the land trust access point. And then on top of it, we really need an on-grade space for this older relative.
I don't have any more questions.
So does the board have any more questions? Dennis, you okay?
Well, on this part, so,
Yeah, we're still in public
Yeah.
part of the meeting.
well, yeah, but we also have the application
Yes.
itself to go over and so
Yep.
on, but, I just have a question about the, what would actually be the east side, I guess, of the house. It couldn't be put there. I see there's a well there. And
It's actually, the well's actually on the west side, sir, because north is down, just
Yes.
The
I even
well
I
is
even
right
tried
there.
to think that through, and you're right. That's correct. Yes. So on the west side, the well is over there. What is that scalloped edge there?
That's more vegetation.
Mhm. Okay, so that's just, it's almost wetlands there, isn't it?
No, it's
It's
not
not.
wetlands. No,
Not wetlands, but it's
I mean,
forest.
that's
Let's
from,
call it forested area or something.
exactly, and that's from Gessick's plan. I had them do a fairly detailed plan,
Mhm.
help clarify some things here for us.
But I guess I was trying to figure out if it made sense to go to that side, but I'm not sure that,
Well, then you'd also have a double driveway kind of look because the neighbor's driveway skirts right along that edge. In fact, it's even, you know, crosses the line at its curb cut, and I think it would really break down in the green space. Especially when you still have a garage over here. And the house has kind of living spaces that all relate to the kind of green space in this area.
Yeah.
I should also mention that we're quite comfortable having a provision that this garage will not be used for any sort of future rental. Because I think I could see that as a potential concern. I believe one of the neighbors and Mr. Mako had some concerns about that, and I chatted with the owners about it, and they have no issue with that at all. Because this really is just to give them a little more parking space under cover.
So is the
That
board,
would also protect you if someone else owned it later.
is the board ready to open this up to public questions or comments, or does anybody
Well,
have
let's-
anything else?
why don't we go over the application?
Okay,
So I've actually touched on most of this. Basically, we're requesting a variance to allow a small accessory in the front yard, section 11.
I want to put it up. Can you share it?
You want me to put it up? Sure, I can put it up.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stop the screen on this one because I think it's on a different tab. Bear with me.
All right.
Do a new one. There we go. Can you see that?
Yep.
yes,
Okay. So, so the address 26 Wildcat Springs, map 66, lot 21, RU2 zone, owners John and Deborah Orlando, who are the residents. I'm representing them, William Thompson, AIA. We're requesting a variance to allow a small accessory in the front yard, section 11.1. Existing deep single-family lot is developed to the rear. Septic is developed to the central zone, which I pointed out to you. Need for an accessible bedroom for family member requires area adjacent to the house. That's that area to the left on the sheet, which is to the east of the main house now. Reasonable need to allow more garage space, as it is not unusual for this lot as far as having, more than a small two-car garage. Suitable location for this accessory structure tucked into a largely existing grades, which is the way I described it in that bank, and to also would accommodate more covered parking. This location allows relatively unobtrusive structure. The variance requested, as mentioned above, is 11.1. Request variance to allow small accessory in the front yard. What conditions especially affect this parcel? Lot is undersized in width and front. Developed largely the rear, limits area for accessory structure. How will little enforcement of these regulations result in difficulty or unusual hardship? The need for an accessible bedroom space on grade adjacent to the house further limits space to provide accessory covered parking. How will the variance be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the regulations? The requested accessory is minor in size relative to the lot size and set far back from the street and largely set into the existing grades. It would be over 198 feet back from the street. The overall proposed arrangement is not dissimilar in form to the neighborhood pattern of development. There are many houses that have building much further forward than this. Have any previous appeals been filed in connection with these premises? In 85, application 6008, rear line lot variance for the pool was approved. This was prior to my clients owning the property. It's not in the coastal, it's not a coastal site plan, and this didn't check right, but it's not in the flood zone, it's an X zone. Are there wetlands adjacent? No. It's not within 500 feet of another municipality. It isn't a watershed, as is basically the town. Lot characteristics, lot width is 98 feet, area is 53,611.9 square feet. Existing coverage 2839.6, proposed 4718.8. I should mention though, the building for the variance is only 572 of that. Total floor area 7349 existing, 9006 proposed. Number of stories remains the same at 2.5 for the dwelling. Average building height of dwelling 27 remains at 27. Total building height 34 remains at 34. This is asking, sorry, if you look at the existing conditions. I said absolutely. Sounds like at least one of you were able to do. This copy of mine doesn't have the owner's signature, but the one we filed does.
So Dennis, are you good with the review? Does that bring any more questions to your mind, or?
I think it answers the questions that I have, but
Okay. Dylan, Bill, do you have any other questions before we invite the audience to make comments?
No, I'm okay. I've asked everything that I was interested in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Would you like me to put the site plan back up, sir?
Yeah, that'd be great if you could,
Okay.
please. So does anybody from the public, we could start, does anyone want to speak in favor of this application? Aaron, is there anybody in the audience? I should ask you that first.
Yes, we do have attendees. And
Okay.
we heard Joe Mako is here and would like to speak.
So can we start with anybody who would like to speak in favor of this application? See if there are any hands up for that. Any hands up?
hands raised.
Sorry, I can't
No.
see it. Yeah.
Nope, no hands raised.
Okay, so why don't we invite anybody who would like to make comments against this application?
Or comments in general?
Or any comments? It doesn't, yeah.
Okay, Joseph. Okay, Joseph, and maybe, Will, if you could stop screen sharing for a minute, then we can
Sure.
probably see everybody a little better. And we can pull it back up if we need to. Okay, Joe, you are unmuted and you have the floor. If you could just identify yourself for the record and your address.
Well, first of all, my name is Joseph Mako, 22 Randy Drive. I live around the corner from the property. My two adjacent property owners got notification, but I guess my property is slightly more than 500 feet away, so I didn't get any notification. But I saw the sign up on the property, so I was concerned about it. I've been here for over 40 years. And one of my concerns is that in this development, there are no detached garages, and especially none in the front of the house. There are outbuildings people have put up, but they're all on the side or in the rear of the property. And I'm concerned about setting a precedent, not only in this neighborhood, but in other places. So my concern is that eventually this will be turned into something else. And that's my concern. I don't know the Orlandos. I don't believe they've lived in the neighborhood that long. So there was a family in there that I believe had 6 bedrooms in that house. So it's a quite large house, so it doesn't meet the needs of the present owner. That's unfortunate. But as somebody suggested, it's possible that they could take the present 2-car garage and turn that into the accessory building and put the garage on the outside of that accessory. I don't know, cost wise, it may be very much expensive. Doesn't make sense. I don't know. But another suggestion for this board is, I think if you look at the slide that has the sign on the property, you'll get a better understanding rather than looking at a schematic. You could get a better idea of how narrow the front of this property is. So I don't know if you want to look at that, and that may ease some of your concerns about what it looks like. I can't look at a bird's eye view of something and really see it that well. But if you take the snapshot of your sign, you'll get a better idea, because the sign is actually you can't tell whether it's for 26 or 22 because it's nailed to a tree between the 2 driveways.
I can bring up that photo if you'd like.
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, I think that would be nice. I think it would help, maybe help. But as I said, my concern is that this is setting a precedent in our neighborhood. I've been here over 40 years, and people do not have garages in their front yard.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mako.
Would you like me to bring that photo up, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, we can take a look. Meanwhile, Aaron, is there anybody else raising their hand?
No, sir.
That's it?
That's the photo. You see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what, sorry, go ahead.
So this is their driveway. The driveway, you can see a tiny bit there, is the one that squeaks over the edge, but this is clearly on their property, the signage. And the driveway sweeps back here. This whole area in the middle from that front door towards here is septic. And back, can you see my cursor or not really?
Yes.
Yes.
So just beyond where my cursor is where the proposed garage would go, back in there. And you can see how the slope comes up in this whole zone
Yeah.
along here. That's how it's all raised, along that land trust land. And as you can see, once you round that bend, this garage tucked into here, it's frankly barely noticeable. But I mean, this is before the trees are really in full, leaf. So anyway, does that help? Do you want me to stop that share?
Yeah, just so everybody can see each other, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's no other members of the audience raising their hand. Does anybody on the board have any final questions for Mr. Thompson while we're in the public portion?
There's no coastal site
No,
required.
there's no coastal site
Not
plan.
required there, right? Yeah.
One question I think, Will, that I have just for large buildings. What is the square footage of the proposed footprint of the main house? Do you have that? The building coverage
I have
excess of 3,000 square feet, the footprint?
of the total house.
Yes, which that
Um,
isn't necessarily
I don't,
required for the house, but in considering the addition, if the footprint is in excess of 3,000 square feet, there's an additional provision for increase.
I actually, Aaron, I don't know. It's probably right on the cusp of that. And
Okay, so
I'll
you
be
may have
happy
to
check.
adjust the addition a little bit to.
Yeah. But,
I just wanted to bring that to your attention, 2.9.
okay,
It doesn't affect the accessory structure, but
No.
as I'm looking at it,
and I'm just trying to see, I have a tally sheet near here, but I don't think I have.
I think you only have a percentage.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to give that to you incorrectly, because
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
I
I think it was right on the cusp of that. I want to say it might be a hair under, but I don't want to attest to that. I'll obviously check before we would go with that.
right, for the apartment.
Yep.
But that did come to mind.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll put a motion then to end the public portion of the meeting and proceed to our deliberations. Can
You're
someone
making a
second?
motion, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, who would like to start?
I guess I'll start. I'm just trying to go through my mind exactly what the hardship is. I don't think there's a legal hardship, and there's obviously not a reduction of nonconformities. The only thing that I could maybe point out would be that maybe you could classify this as an unusual hardship or an exceptional hardship because of the layout of the land or the topography of the land. But can you also say that this might be a self-created hardship? I don't know. I would like to hear what the other board members say. I mean, we obviously know that a self-created hardship, it does not qualify as a hardship.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Bill. I think that that's exactly what it is. It basically says, well, we're expanding the house into something much larger, and oh, that means we need a new garage, and we got nowhere to put that except out front, which, to Mr. Mako's point, is not in keeping with what's in the neighborhood. This is a much larger garage than, say, a shed. Most sheds are under 200 square feet, and this is considerably larger than that. And while it's tucked away in there, I think that there's, as you suggest, there's not a hardship there that says, we really need this and we can't do anything with the way it is. We need it for living conditions. And I get the desire to add on and make an in-law apartment, if you will, but I don't think that qualifies for a hardship as far as adding a garage. So,
Dylan, do you want to?
Yeah. So I guess what I would say there is it kind of sounded like, from the way he was presenting, that this structure was necessary for accessibility reasons, right? Because he's the owner is building it for an elderly resident, so it might be necessary to give them their own space. I mean, I'm not sure if there's anything on ADA involved here, but I think you could make the case that because this building is necessary, right? For accessibility reasons, right? It's not a self-created hardship, and because you can't really put the garage anywhere else, if you have that building constructed, that addition constructed, then that could be the hardship. What do you think? What do you guys?
Well, I think I agree with Bill and Dennis. I appreciate Mr. Thompson's presentation, but I don't see anything unique about the lot. And speaking of use, this is for another garage. One already exists. The neighborhood, I did drive around, and yeah, there are no other front accessory buildings in that entire development, Madison Springs, Randy, Wildcat Springs. So I don't see a hardship
Yeah, I kind of agreed.
Mhm.
Okay. Personally, I would grant the variance, but if I'm alone here, I guess I'll dissent.
Yeah, you don't have
Dylan,
to.
you can certainly vote for it, Dylan, if you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
If you
it's,
think it's right.
yeah,
Oh.
if you think it's right, you certainly vote whatever way you want. There's no pressure from anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. So I would vote to grant it because I do, feel like given the circumstances, they really can't build a garage anywhere else on their property. And, part of that has to do with the lot shape, part of that has to do with the pre-existing structure, part of that has to do with the necessary construction, I think. So, and I do kind of, think that like the architect, spent a great deal of time and, trying to make it as, unintrusive and as possible. But I definitely can, see the point that a hardship is kind of a stretch here. But that's just my opinion.
So Aaron, just to clarify procedurally, we don't need a motion to resume public, right? We can just go right into our
Yes,
motion to approve or deny. Okay,
that's correct, Richard.
thanks.
Mhm.
So Dylan, do you want to make the motion to approve, or what would you like to do?
Me?
I don't think it's gonna.
Dylan was talking about approval. Would you like to make a motion to that effect, or what would you like to do?
Oh, okay. So I have to state a reason, right?
So yeah, you have to make a motion to approve based on, and what your reasoning is, what the hardship.
Yeah. So
Wait,
or-
don't we have to open the session again?
No, I guess
make a
we were
motion.
doing that incorrectly, so we
Oh.
don't need to do that.
Okay.
So you would make a motion to approve the application for 2307 for 26 Wildcat Springs Drive, map 66 lot 21 RU2 zone, for the variance request section 11.1 to allow an accessory building in a front yard. And you could say, so moved with the addition of whatever rationale you would have if you're moving to approve it.
Sorry, my Bluetooth enabled for a second. Okay, so I'll try to do that. Okay, I make a motion to approve the variance for application 2307, 26 Wildcat Springs Drives, map 66, lot 21, RU2 zone, variance request section 11.1 to allow accessory building in a front yard on the grounds that the shape of the lot and the topography of the land create an unusual hardship.
And you can mention your accessibility.
And for accessibility purposes.
Is anyone going to second that?
For the purposes of moving it along, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the motion fails.
Dennis,
So,
your vote was in opposition?
Yes.
correct.
I didn't hear. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Even though I seconded it, I guess that's,
You just seconded it to move it along, I guess.
Floor.
Yeah.
Yep. So with that,
you could also let it die for lack of a second, but
so that failure to carry is a denial
yes.
of the variance.
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson. And
Yeah,
Mr.
thank you for your presentation, though. We appreciate it.
So I have just a procedural question. Your quorum is 4. And you
Yes.
said to carry anything you needed a unanimous, but to deny something you do not. Correct?
That's correct.
The motion, yes, if you don't have a unanimous motion to grant that variance, it's a fail.
I'm not an
Yes.
attorney, so I'm just asking.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so Dylan's motion would have required 4 votes in favor.
Understood. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
for-
you, sir.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Will.
Bye-bye.
So
Okay.
did everyone get a chance to read the minutes?
Yeah.
So oh boy, we're not going to be able to pass. I was going to abstain because I wasn't there. So that means you're not going to be able to approve them. So maybe we can push that to
Table
next.
to next month.
Yeah, we'll push that to next month because I wasn't there. I can't attest to them. So that's it. Do we have any other business?
I just have one question. Aaron, can you send the minutes again,
Sure.
please?
Yes, if I send them now, we'll forget anyways before.
Well,
May.
yeah, that's the point.
So we're a little closer.
Yes, we will.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. That's a quick night.
Yeah,
So I move to motion to close the meeting.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
That's unanimous.
That's
glad we didn't-
unanimous.
Glad we got 4 votes for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
right.
you all.
Good night, everyone.
All
Thanks,
right,
Aaron.
good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Shortest meeting ever.
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
Night.